Part of what I wanted to do in doing that was to try and involve young people who either know very little about contemporary classical music or are scared of it, to actually look at some of the processes that are involved in the way that I write music. Because there is a bit of an idea that with classical music, most of the people that go to it are old, and that is actually not true. There's quite a lot of young people who are very interested in as well. And I think the best way to get people involved in music is to actually look at making aspects of that themselves, because that helps to get a much deeper understanding. The difference between contemporary classical and classical, in a nutshell, is that classical music is generally written by people who are now dead, or occupies a style that comes from a previous time. Now, there are living people who still write in that particular style, so they write in a classical music style. And it gets very confusing because you'd call those contemporary because they are obviously of their time, but they're not necessarily writing in a language that's of their time. When you're starting to experiment with sounds and how sounds are structured, you're going into the realms of contemporary classical music. When you're not using the rules and regulations that were set up before, and you're being experimental. All right. Now, this is what you're doing is using syncopated rhythms across irregular bars. Because if this was written down as music, you'd have a 4/4 bar, a 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, or 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, whatever. But it's different units with an emphasis on the first beat of the bar, and because they're all different lengths, those relationships shift. But what I want you to do is not to go into your groups. I want you to be independently counting your rhythm, and then I'm going to call you back to your groups, and I want you to be quite honest to see if you come back together doing the same thing as when you left. Right, make your way back to your group, but don't change. If you've got it wrong, you've got it wrong. If you've got it right, you've got it right. Miraculously, you all seem to coalesce into a wonderful synchronicity again when you came back. But who got lost?
I got a little lost.
Yeah. It shows you one thing, that even with a simple, repetitive pattern, when it comes to doing things independently with other noises going on around you, it's actually not easy to keep in exactly the same place as when you started off. So there is a real challenge there. I'm wanting you to use your voices in a way that you don't normally use. No singing, but just using those voices. And I want to do that by using each of the letters in its phonetic sense. In a performance thing like this, or a creative workshop, I'm wanting to take it that little bit further, which is why it's really important to try and make these particular sounds. You're getting there, but you see it is a challenge. It looks incredibly simple and you think, yeah, I can do that, no problem. But actually, it is far more demanding than you think. So far, we have done things that are synchronous, and they're synchronous because, as you would have noticed, there's a da 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 going on. There's one thing that I want to do to introduce the idea of asynchronicity, and that is, I'm going to just look at Mary Had. But this time, I want each group to do it at different speeds. So you've got this da 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 da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3. Each particular person has a different speed for the music that they play, and that speed changes throughout the piece. No two people are ever playing at the same time, so each musician has to have a sense of what that rhythm is. And it could be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And other people are doing completely different things. So you've got to be really, really strong in your idea and sense of speed and rhythm to carry that through. What I want you to do in your groups is to go away for 15 minutes and use any part of this, right? Any part of Mary Had a Little Lamb. And I want you to create your own little sequence of sounds at any speed, any rhythm that you particularly want to. Now this can include, if you're feeling really safe, it can include a repetitive chant, like we've been doing, or if you're feeling the opposite, then you can be as spontaneous and bizarre as you like. You can really go all over. So you are in a position of being both performers and creators, composers, for what you've actually done this morning. What a fantastic finish! Thank you very much for being so cooperative. You've been a great group.